Many years ago, I bought myself a model of a Matchbox Corvette. And this was back in the 1990s when I was down in Croydon. It's still not finished, like all good model railways. So what I decided is I needed something to push it along and where I could display it. I didn't want to build it as the actual kit, so I wanted to convert it to a freighter. And this was the basic shape of the vessel. It's about about 30 inches long, so it's quite a big model. So I've also got a hankering for old buildings. So I thought, well, how about a Victorian style dock, dry dock to put it in? Then it doesn't matter what condition it's in, it can be displayed whatever way. I want it to be double hull railway served, probably DCC operation because of the shape of the dockside. And I need a couple of turntables to feed the various sides of the dock. And a selection of buildings on it just to make it look a wee bit more interesting and give it a bit of reason there. And a dockside crane as well. And also I thought about a wee railway crane too, just so I could put her back on forwards. Some of the parts would have to be 3D printed, and having got the printers, I've been doing a wee bit of work on that. And I fancy putting in some moving road vehicles, but that's a totally different concept that I'm working on at the moment. And maybe some animations at some point. So what I started off was got the CAD out and done a basic layout. So I've got an idea of what's going where. So the basin for the ship to sit in, some dock gates, a pump house, stores in various buildings, and the turntables at one end. So I've got a selection of Metcalfe buildings, as we probably all have, that are industrial related and basically from that period and some scale scene stuff. So it was trying to incorporate some of these in the final layout as well. So the dock structure, to keep it as light as possible, I've made it a foam board, 5mm foam board, with strengtheners in it, and 3D printed sections for the walling. Now the 3D printer wasn't quite set right, but it's given me a nice texture on the stone, like it's been dressed stone. So that's the length of the two pieces when they're sitting together. So the dock gates are up this end, and this is the back end there. And this is basically what the layout's going to be. Big building at the back there is one that I've scratch built so far. Because of the nature of dock sides and being an old Victorian dock, I wanted to put in a rope walk with some workshops. So this was the various bits, some 3D printed parts for that. The rope walk would be in the top, and then workshops and stores in the bottom. A pump house that was done from one of the scale scenes kits that was at the end of up by the gates, and would be home to a beam engine. And the dock gate construction, having had a look at some of the stuff online, I've come up with this just 2mm square wood strip, and then coffee strithers to give an indication, and then it's just to get weathered and some detail put on it as well. You can actually see the texture and the stonework there now. Not quite perfect, but it's good enough for what I'm looking for the moment. Now I've got a list of projects that I want to complete. Is try to get these two items motorised with the boiler and the propeller. It'd be nice for them to come in and get these items offloaded by the crane. Some steam wagons and a steam crane. I don't know how easy it'd be to motorise the steam crane, but I'll have a look at that. And the turntables. So to do this, I've sat back, got out, and came up with an idea for it. And these are the bits and pieces that I would need. So there's the housing first. So this has got an insert in it to take the turntable and 4 access tracks on it. The turntable itself for the deck, again, to take a crossover. The PCB, now that's just got to be a circular PCB with a cut in the middle, and I've still to do that, and it'll just be done with a couple of hole saws. And that's the housing itself that's been 3D printed. The deck with the center section. And the 90-degree crossing to fit in. So I'll have to take droppers down, and to do that, I'm going to use sprung headers. This is a row of 5, so this pin comes up and down, and put spring headers attached to each of the outputs, and then they'll contact with a positive and a negative on the PCB, so that there'll always be current on that if I want it. And the servo, that probably a stepper rather than a servo for that. So the cranes I'm looking at is the standard DAPO one. Try to get that motorized and run it with a shuttle kit, so it just moves back and forward. And then for the railway crane, this is off AFIX RAF recovery set. It's a Coles crane body, and I've just mounted it on a flatbed, and then hopefully I'll be able to fit a wee DCC controller underneath there and take power pickups off of the rails to have that running back and forward. And that's it. If you have any questions, I'm quite happy to answer it. Anything? So fire away, gentlemen.